Hello, I'm going to tell you about the 5 factors of health today and really what chiropractic is all about. Now, in the beginning, there's a male cell and a female cell, and those two cells join. And at that moment, there's this bioelectrical fusion of life energy that takes place. And these cells instantly start to grow and multiply. They start to grow and multiply. Before long, they become about the size of a raspberry, sometimes called a mulberry. And it's at this time that the first organ of the body is formed. Now, what is the first organ of the body? No, it's not the heart. It's actually the brain. The brain is the first organ of the body. Now, as these cells keep growing and multiplying, there starts to form a streak in this cellular mass. And from this streak descends the spinal cord. Now, as this keeps growing and multiplying, nerve fibers start forming from the brain and coming down the spinal cord. Hundreds of thousands of them start coming down the spine like this. And a lot of times these nerves go from the left side of your brain to the right side of your body and the right side to the left side. There's this cross-patterning effect. And at the end of all these nerves start to form little nerve buds. And these nerve buds are eventually going to form our organs. So we have our heart, we have our lungs, we have our digestive system, and everything else that you can think of is formed from the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves. Now, the body is incredibly smart, and it knows the brain is number one. It is the most important thing that we have. So it cases it entirely in bone to protect it, right? The skull. Now, the spinal cord is equally very important. It really is just an extension of the brain. And the spinal cord has its own shell casing of bone. It gets 24 movable vertebrae. It breaks it up into vertebrae because if it was one solid bone, we'd be walking stick figures and we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we get to do in life. So 24 movable vertebrae. Now, the brain is what starts and ends life. So we might say the brain has all the power we need. 100% of the power comes from the brain. Now, how much of that power from the brain do you want getting down into the body and out the nerve, let's say go into your heart? How much of that power do you want going to your heart? Well, 100%. For how often of the time? Well, all the time. For how long? Forever. And that is health right there. Health is all 37 trillion cells of your body working and communicating in perfect harmony. And that can only be done when you have a healthy brain and spinal cord system, because that's the system that does it. Now, what can happen through everyday normal activities? These vertebrae can shift and start to pinch the nerves. They actually pinch the nerves. 1, 3, 5 of them. And when that happens, it causes a problem. Now, I'll show you what happens. Here's a motor unit. Here's the vertebrae. Here's the nerve. The nerve is right behind the vertebrae you see here. And that vertebrae often slips back and puts pressure on the nerve, like that. Puts pressure on the nerve. And when that happens, it causes a problem. The scientists actually studied this. They ended up taking a little light bulb, hooking it up to a nerve. The light bulb got powered on. The light bulb got powered on, and then they started putting pressure on the nerve. They wanted to see how much millimeters of mercury or pressure they had to put on the nerve before the light bulb started to go out. And they found that only the weight of a dime on a nerve choked the power off to 60%. Only the weight of a dime, 60% cut the power off. Now, that could be a huge deal. You're talking about your stomach, your lungs, your heart, getting any part of the body being choked off, even 5%. It's a big deal over many years. That's why you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, everyone should be checked for these misalignments, which we call subluxations. when the vertebrae slips out of alignment and puts pressure on a nerve. We call that a subluxation. And many times we cannot feel this in our body because the brain and spinal cord system has so much to do that pain is its last thing that it's really worried about. So actually only 10% of the brain and spinal cord system sense pain. Most of it is for telling our heart to beat, our liver to produce enzymes, things of that nature. So that's why you and everyone else should get in here and get checked to see if any of these are causing you problems. So I want to go over the 5 factors of health. So for one, we got the sound nerve system. We need that for health for sure. Number 2, we got fuel. We must eat right, get clean water, things like that. 3 is exercise. Exercise all the ligaments and joints. Number 4 is good rest to regenerate every single day. And number 5 is a calm, positive, optimistic attitude. Now, it really doesn't matter what kind of food you eat if your stomach is only running at, let's say, 60%. It really doesn't matter how hard you exercise or what you do if you're exercising on a messed up spine. Because if your spine is out of line, it's going to wear down those joints much faster. Just like a car. You have a race car, and let's say you race the car, and you race the car, and you race the car, and you never tune it up. What's the race car going to do? It's going to wear out much faster. And sadly, that's what most people's lives are like today. It doesn't matter what kind of sleep you get if the power that made the body is not getting down into the body to rebuild the cells, muscles, and organs of your body. So for one, we need a sound nerve system. And that sound nerve system is going to process the food correctly, get us all the nutrients we need, and work to our advantage. Our exercise is going to be so much better because of our spine and joints are aligned. We're going to feel better and we're going to recover better. Rest. When you have a sound nerve system, your sleep is more regenerative. It helps you build the cells, muscles, and organs and rebuild all the cells, tissues, and organs of your body when you're sleeping. If you have the sound nerve system, getting that power down into your body. And of course, I can tell you, if all of these things are right, I guarantee your attitude is going to be so much better because you're going to feel better, you're going to function better, your work is going to be better, your relationships are going to be better. Everything in your life is going to be so much better when you feel good and you function good. And that is just how God intended it.